My name is Sarah, and if motherhood taught me anything, it's this. A mother's instinct is powerful, but a German Shepherd's instinct may be even stronger. When my son Noah was born, I thought the world finally made sense. Those tiny fingers, the newborn smell, the way he curled into my chest, everything felt right. And Rex. Oh, Rex was mesmerized. He wasn't just protective, he was devoted. He'd lie next to Noah's crib, follow me during midnight feedings, stand guard during bath time. And if Noah so much as whimpered, Rex was there faster than any baby monitor could alert me. People joked that I didn't need a nanny. I already had a four-legged one. But life after maternity leave was brutal. Bills piled up, my job demanded I return, and we had no family nearby, so we hired a nanny. Her name was Grace, a woman in her mid-40s with soft curls and a warm smile. On paper, she looked perfect. Years of experience, glowing reviews, CPR certified, and remarkably patient. The first week, everything went smoothly. Except, Rex didn't like her. Not one bit. The first time she entered the house, Rex stood between her and Noah's crib, tail stiff, ears pinned back, not barking, not growling, just watching, measuring, evaluating. "Don't worry," Grace laughed nervously. "Dogs just need time to warm up." But Rex didn't warm up. He stayed cold. Every time she reached for Noah, even just to adjust a blanket, Rex would move closer. Every time she walked past the crib, Rex followed. Every time she held Noah's bottle, Rex stared at her like he was waiting for her to slip. It was unsettling. I tried to chalk it up to jealousy. Rex had been my shadow for years. Maybe he wasn't ready to share my attention with a stranger. But then the small things started happening. Things that didn't make sense. The first incident was minor. I came home early from work one day. Grace was holding Noah in the living room, but the way she was holding him, too tight, too rushed, made my stomach twist. "Noah was crying non-stop," she explained quickly. "I just picked him up to calm him." Rex stood in front of her, teeth slightly visible, growl vibrating like a warning. "Rex!" I scolded. "That's enough!" But he didn't stop. He inched closer, nose pointed at Noah's blanket. Grace clutched Noah tighter, too tight. When I took Noah back, he whimpered, a soft, strained cry I had never heard from him. "See? He's fine," she assured. "Just tired." Rex sniffed Noah's clothes intensely, then stared up at me. "Something's wrong." His eyes said it loud and clear. I tried to ignore the knot forming in my chest. But Rex never reacted like this without a reason. The second incident was harder to explain away. One morning, I accidentally left my phone recording after I checked something near the crib. When I returned home that evening and played it back, I heard Noah crying. Not the hungry cry, not the sleepy cry, but the distressed cry, the terrified cry. Grace's voice came next. "Shh! Stop it! Stop crying! Do you hear me? Stop!" The sound of something heavy being put down, footsteps, a sharp exhale of frustration. Then, a slap, not on his face, on the crib railing, but hard enough to make Noah scream louder. My heart stopped. I played it again, and again. I wanted, desperately, to convince myself I heard it wrong, that it was the crib creaking, that Grace was overwhelmed, not angry, but Rex knew. He had known from day one. That night, he slept in front of Noah's door, refusing to move. Even when I kissed his head and whispered, "It's okay, boy," he didn't budge. He kept watch, and I barely slept. Something was happening in my home, something I wasn't seeing, but Rex was. The breaking point came on a Tuesday morning. I had left for work already, or so Grace thought. I had forgotten my laptop and turned the car around, parking quietly in the driveway. As I unlocked the front door, I heard Noah screaming. The kind of scream that freezes your body. And then I heard Grace's voice. "Oh my God, shut up already!" My blood went cold. I rushed inside, but Rex was already there, standing between Grace and the crib, growling, loud, terrifying. Grace was red-faced, breathing heavily, arm raised mid-motion. Whether to grab Noah or something worse, I would never know. "What are you doing?" I shouted. She spun around startled, hand dropping. "Oh, Sarah, I didn't hear you come in. He was crying nonstop and I was trying to step away from my son." Rex's bark exploded through the room, so deep, so fierce, the windows practically vibrated. Grace backed up, hands in the air. I wasn't hurting him, I swear. But Rex didn't believe her, and neither did I. He moved closer to Noah, shielding him with his entire body. If Grace so much as twitched, Rex would have sprung. I grabbed Noah from the crib, holding him tight against my chest. His face was wet with tears, his tiny hands shaking. Rex pressed himself against my leg, guiding me back, keeping his eyes locked on Grace. And for the first time, I felt real fear. Not of Rex, never of Rex. Of the woman I had trusted in my home, with my child. The moment she stepped toward us, Rex let out the most vicious growl I had ever heard from him. "Get out," I said, voice breaking. "Now!" Grace stammered something about misunderstandings, exhaustion, infants being difficult, but I didn't hear a word, because Rex wasn't moving. He stood planted, muscle tense, teeth bared, tail straight down. The perfect guardian. Grace finally stormed toward the door, muttering under her breath, and Rex didn't stop growling until he heard the click of the lock behind her. I sank onto the floor, holding Noah close, tears spilling down my cheeks. "Thank you," I whispered into Rex's fur. "Oh God, thank you." He nuzzled Noah gently, then rested his head on my knee, as if to say, "I won't ever let anyone hurt him." Rex stayed at the door long after Grace's car disappeared down the street. His body was tense, ears high, muscles ready. Not like a dog who had just chased someone out, but like a soldier expecting an enemy to return. I held Noah closer to my chest, rocking him, whispering broken apologies as he whimpered softly. Rex pressed his chin against my thigh, comforting me, while never taking his eyes off the front door. When Mark arrived, face pale, tie loosened, worry written all over him, Rex walked straight to him and nudged his leg, as if reporting everything that had happened. Mark knelt down and placed a firm hand on Rex's shoulder. "Good boy," he whispered. "You protected them." Rex leaned into his touch, but only for a second before resuming his guard stance. That night, none of us slept. Rex lay across the doorway of Noah's room, chest rising and falling slowly, ears twitching at every sound outside. If a leaf blew too loudly across the porch, he lifted his head. If a car slowed near our driveway, he stood up completely, ready. It should have calmed me, but instead, it terrified me. Because dogs don't stay alert like that unless they know the danger isn't over. And Rex was right. Grace wasn't done. 2 days later, just as the sun was sinking behind the rooftops, Rex suddenly sprang up from the living room rug. No bark, no growl, just immediate absolute focus. His entire body stiffened before he bolted to the front door. "No, no way," I whispered, a chill running down my spine. I peeked through the blinds. A car idled in front of our house, not moving, engine humming, lights off. Rex stood in front of the door like a fortress, hackles raised, stance solid. My phone buzzed in my hand. A text message from Grace. "We need to talk." My stomach dropped. Before I could even process it, 3 rapid knocks shook the door. Rex growled, deep, guttural, the kind of sound that vibrates through the floorboards. I froze. Another set of knocks, this time harder. "Sarah, I know you're home," Grace's voice yelled from outside. "I can explain!" Rex barked so violently the windows rattled. He positioned himself between me and the entryway, body low, ready to lunge if that door opened. "No, Rex," I whispered, clutching Noah tighter. "Don't worry, she's not coming in." But Grace wasn't leaving either. She paced on the porch, footsteps heavy, voice shaking with anger. "You ruined my job," she shouted. "You humiliated me. Let me in so we can talk like adults." Rex barked again, a sharp, thunderous sound that made her stumble back. "Control that psycho dog of yours," she screamed. My knees went weak, because in that moment I realized she wasn't here to apologize. She wasn't here to explain. She was here because she was angry. And angry people do stupid, dangerous things. I dialed Mark immediately. He picked up on the first ring. "Mark, she's here," I whispered. "She's outside the door. Rex is freaking out." "Don't open anything," he said firmly. "I'm calling the police. Stay inside. Stay with Rex." But before the cops could even arrive, Everything got worse, much worse. Grace stopped yelling, stopped pacing, stopped knocking. Silence. Rex's posture changed instantly. Ears forward, tail straight, pupils dilated. He wasn't looking at the front door anymore. He turned his head, slowly, toward the back hallway. The back door. The door only we used. The door that should have been locked. I felt every hair on my arm stand up. "No," I whispered, backing up toward Noah's room. "No, no, no," Rex growled, a deep, furious roar. Then, a soft creak. The back door was opening. Rex lunged before I could scream. He sprinted down the hallway with such force his paws skid on the wood floor. I followed, heart slamming against my ribs, clutching Noah as he began to cry. "Rex!" When I turned the corner, Grace was halfway inside our home, 1 foot over the threshold, one hand gripping the doorknob, her face red with rage. And Rex. Rex was standing inches from her, baring his teeth, growling so violently that spit flew from his mouth. Grace froze, hand trembling on the door. I just wanted to talk," she stammered. Rex barked, a deafening explosion of sound. Grace stumbled back out into the yard, falling onto the grass. She scrambled away, yelling, "That dog is crazy! You'll regret this!" She ran to her car, slammed the door, and sped off. Rex stood in the doorway, chest heaving, not moving until her car disappeared at the end of the street. Then he turned back to me, eyes softening the instant he saw Noah crying in my arms. He walked over slowly and nudged Noah's blanket with his nose, checking him, reassuring me, guarding both of us with every breath. I collapsed to my knees, sobbing. "I'm sorry," I whispered into Rex's fur. "I'm so sorry I didn't trust you sooner." Rex pressed into me, warm and solid, and rested his head against Noah. He didn't need to say it. He had one job: protect the baby, protect the family, protect the truth. And he wasn't done yet, because the danger was far from over. After Grace sped away that night, I barely slept. Every noise outside made my heart jump. Every shift of wind against the windows sent Rex running to the front door or the hallway, checking, scanning, guarding. He didn't rest, not even for a moment. He paced the house with the precision of a trained protector. Tail stiff, ears rotating like radar, nose twitching at every scent drifting through the vents. I fed Noah in the rocking chair, bouncing him gently. Rex sat at my feet, staring at the door, body coiled like a spring. "Rex," I whispered, "is she coming back?" He didn't look at me. He didn't need to. His stillness was the answer. Grace wasn't finished, not by a long shot. By the next morning, things escalated, fast. At 8:13 a.m. sharp, someone pounded on my door again. But it wasn't Grace. It was Child Protective Services. 2 officers, badges out, cold expressions. "Ma'am, we received a complaint about potential child neglect and unsafe conditions for an infant," one of them said. My heart stopped. "What? From who?" "We can't disclose the reporting party. We're here to inspect the home, observe the child, and assess risk." Risk to my baby? I felt the room tilt, but Rex moved in front of me, standing firm between the officers and Noah. "Ma'am, you need to control your dog," the officer ordered. "He's protecting his family," I snapped back. But I picked Rex's collar anyway, because I could see it in his eyes. He did not trust these strangers. The officers searched the house, checked the crib, checked the kitchen, checked Noah's formula, bottles, everything. Then they pulled out a second document, a formal complaint. Someone claimed my baby was left crying unattended for extended periods, that the nanny had been treated abnormally by a violent dog, and that the household was mentally unstable. My throat dried instantly. Grace. It had to be. I wanted to scream, cry, beg, but I stood still, holding Noah, feeling Rex press against my leg, calmly grounding me while the world tried to collapse. After a long, tense inspection, an officer finally said, "The home appears safe. Reports seem inconsistent, but we'll keep this case open for follow-up." They left, but their last words echoed in my bones, "We'll be watching." And Rex. Rex stood at the door and growled for a full minute after they walked away. He knew who sent them. He knew what she was trying to do. She wasn't just angry. She wanted revenge. That afternoon, things went from frightening to horrifying. I was changing Noah's diaper when Rex suddenly froze. Not stiff like before, stiff like a predator. He lifted his head slowly, nose flaring, ears twitching, eyes narrowing toward the kitchen doorway. "Rex," I whispered, "what is it?" He didn't move. He inhaled again, deep and sharp. Then he bolted. I grabbed Noah and followed, heart hammering. Rex ran to the kitchen counter, specifically to Noah's formula container. He sniffed it once, twice. Then he snarled. Not the protective growl he gave at the door. A furious, panicked, warning snarl. He slammed his paw against the cabinet, pawed at the counter, tried to jump up and knock over the formula. "What is it? What?" I rushed forward, opened the lid, and I froze. The powder inside wasn't uniform. There were clumps, dark specks. Something gritty, something that did not belong there. I stared at the container in shock. It had been sealed that morning. I hadn't opened it since. I hadn't touched it. But someone else had. Someone with a key. Someone who had been in my kitchen. Someone who had come back to my house last night. Grace. The same woman who screamed at my infant. The same woman Rex refused to let near the crib. The same woman who tried to re-enter through the back door. And I had been about to mix that formula. I had been about to feed it to my son. My knees buckled. I sank onto the tile, clutching Noah to my chest. "Oh my God! Oh my God!" Rex started barking, sharp, insistent, circling me like he wanted me to move. He nudged me toward the door, toward the car, away from the kitchen, away from the poison formula. "Rex," he barked again, louder. He wanted me to run. He wanted me to get Noah away. Now. I scrambled to my feet, grabbed my keys, diaper bag, blanket, whatever I could reach while holding my shaking baby. Rex herded me all the way to the front door, nudging my legs, pushing urgently. Then he stopped. A soft sound drifted from outside. A footstep, slow, measured, coming up the porch steps. My breath caught. Rex positioned himself between me and the door, head low, teeth showing. Another footstep. The shadow under the door shifted, then a voice. "Sarah, open up. We need to talk." Grace. Again. I felt my throat tighten, fear flooding in. But Rex wasn't scared. He was ready. He looked at me one last time, and his eyes said everything. "Don't worry, I'm here. I won't let her touch him." Grace's voice oozed through the door like poison. "Sarah, open the door. We can fix this." Rex growled so deeply the wood beneath him vibrated. I tightened my grip on Noah. He whined softly, sensing the tension. "No," I whispered to myself. "This ends now." But before I could make another move, the door handle turned, slowly, quietly, deliberately. She was trying to come in. "Grace, leave!" I shouted. "I've already called the police." I hadn't, but I reached for my phone to do exactly that. Before I could dial, the door jerked violently. Once, twice, then it burst open. Grace stumbled in, hair wild, eyes bloodshot, breathing hard like she had been arguing with herself for hours. "I just need to talk!" she screamed. Rex lunged, not to attack, but to shield. He slammed into my legs, knocking me backward into the hallway, positioning himself squarely between me and Grace. "Call that dog off!" she shrieked. But Rex's roar drowned out every word she said. His teeth bared, body low but ready, every muscle locked in place. Grace took one step forward. Rex barked so explosively she froze mid-step. "You ruined my life," she shouted, spit flying. "I gave you everything, my time, my effort, You screamed at my baby," I yelled back, voice cracking. "You tried to get in at night. You poisoned." "His formula!" Grace's face twisted. She opened her mouth to deny it. But Rex moved, fast. He barked once, then charged, not to bite, but to drive her out. Grace stumbled backward, tripping over her own feet, crashing into the porch railing. "Get your animal away!" she screeched. Rex didn't budge. He kept pushing her back with sheer force and presence. I hit the emergency button on my phone. 911, what's your emergency? She broke into my house. She tried to harm my baby. My dog is protecting us. Please hurry. Grace lunged toward me as soon as she heard 911. Don't you dare! She screamed. Rex launched himself in front of her. He didn't bite. He didn't attack. He blocked. His body became a wall. Grace shoved him. Rex didn't move. She tried to sidestep. He mirrored her perfectly, cutting off every path like a trained K9. When she finally snapped and tried to rush past him toward me, Rex knocked her to the floor. Not a bite, not a scratch, just pure, unstoppable force. She hit the ground hard, and that's when sirens erupted down the street. Grace's eyes widened. She scrambled to her feet and tried to run, but Rex was faster. He grabbed the hem of her jacket with his teeth and yanked her back down, pinning her in place until 2 officers stormed the porch. The moment they entered, Rex backed away immediately, letting them take over, but he kept himself between them and Noah. The officers cuffed Grace as she screamed, kicked, and cursed. "You're done!" she shrieked at me. "I'm going to ruin you!" One officer tightened the cuffs. "That's enough!" They dragged her out the door. Rex followed them to the porch, watching until the car drove away and the flashing lights disappeared. Only then did he turn back to me, and his entire body softened. He walked up, nudged Noah's blanket gently, and rested his head against my hip. My knees gave out. I sank to the floor and sobbed into Rex's fur while holding Noah against my chest. "You saved him," I whispered. "You saved us." Rex licked Noah's tiny hand as if to say, "That's my job." Egmik seats. 4 weeks later, CPS cleared our case completely. Grace was arrested for attempted harm, harassment, and breaking and entering. The toxicology report confirmed what Rex already knew. Noah's formula had been tampered with, and Rex became more than just our dog. He became our guardian, our hero, our silent, steady protector. People asked me later, "How did you know something was wrong?" I always gave the same answer. I didn't. Rex did. He sensed the danger. He warned us. He defended Noah with everything he had. And when the system failed, when judgment failed, when I failed to see, Rex did not. The final scene. One evening, months after everything had ended, I was rocking Noah to sleep in the glow of his nightlight. Rex lay beside the crib, eyes half closed but always watching. I whispered, "Rex, why wouldn't you let her hold him that day? You knew, didn't you?" Rex lifted his head. He didn't bark. He didn't whine. He simply placed a paw gently on Noah's blanket, a soft, protective gesture, a vow, a promise. And in that moment, I understood. Some guardians are chosen by blood, some by love, but the greatest ones are chosen by instinct. Rex never doubted mine, and from that day on, I never doubted his again.